All right, we're gonna move on to the next segment. We're gonna take questions from you. One of these cameras here, I don't know. There's like 5 of them to look at.
That
It's
middle
sort of
one.
like a VR set almost. Middle one, got it. All right, so we're gonna
Yeah, can we run this in stereoscopic VR?
Oh, that-
Not
would be
yet.
cool.
Not yet.
That would actually. I was thinking it would be awesome if we did a show where we had it in VR, so then you could have the 3-dimensional chart, and it would, the bar would pop out. So we're
trying to figure it out.
Sweet.
Don't-
And you can see
spoilers.
how fat I am in real life.
right,
Oh, man.
So we basically put out questions to the internets. I got a few really good ones here. A lot of these are, of course, GeForce related. I'm going to throw this one at you, Brad.
Hit me.
Sorry, real quick. Where'd you get these from? Where can people send in their questions?
They can send, actually, if I remember the email address, I can post it in the actual, I think it's the Full Nerd Podcast at PCWorld.com. You can send questions there, or when we put out questions on Twitter and Facebook, we'll take them.
Adam
Obviously,
looks so proud. You remembered, Gordon.
there's actually a lot of, I know, he was like, this guy, and I never prep for anything.
You did great.
And we have a lot of questions. We'd love to answer them all, but we're just gonna try to get to a few. This is a great one because it sort of touches on the topics we already touched on. This is from Tyler. Will my 2500K overclocked at 4.5 gigahertz bottleneck the new GTX 1070? Of course, he wants to know exactly how much. We can't say yet, but thoughts? You think that's going to be a problem on the 2500K?
I think it goes back to everything we were talking about earlier in both those segments. I mean, we don't know what the performance is going to be yet, so we can't get that far into it. But like I said, if it's doing fine for you now, it'll probably do fine for you then, except for the open world games where you're seeing issues and stuff like that. I don't think it'll bottleneck general performance badly enough that you got to be like, oh no, I need to run out and buy a new one right now.
I mean, I really think that it'll depend on when DirectX 12 actually takes hold, because once DirectX 12 becomes a usual thing and you want that multi-core support, maybe. But the problem is, like, every DirectX 12 game so far has been a half-assed mess.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so most games are still just pretty much front-loading that first core and then running everything else at minimum. So
Right.
why
99%
worry about
outside
it?
the demos, right? So it's not
I would
really-
I would recommend, if you're looking to buy a 1080, buy the 1080, and if something's messed up, buy a new processor. I wouldn't just go buy one just in anticipation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not my only, again, this gets back to what I said earlier. My only problem with the 2500K is Z77, Z68. Man, those things are ancient, man. That is an
Yeah.
old ass chipset. I mean, I don't even
Yeah.
surprised they work. I mean, you probably have to like kickstart them in the morning, for God's sake. They're just, there's like nothing modern in them.
Yeah, I get out my my car battery, actually, and I connect the ports.
So yeah, moving to Z170 or X99 would be a nice upgrade for the chipset. Not so much probably for the CPU at this point. The question 2, this is a good one from Mr. Pips.
Hey, he follows me on Twitter.
This is
You guys should too.
What a good guy.
Mr. Follow Brad. What's your Twitter handle?
At Brad Charkis. Inventive.
And mine's at Hayden CD. The same thing. Very easy.
So basically, he wants to know, how will retailers price the 980, 970 when they have the 1070 and 1080 in stock? Can they charge more for 980 than 1070?
Looking around this weekend, it looked like you were already starting to see the discounts flow.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because
Who's gonna
looking around,
buy
there
it?
was discount. Yeah, why would
Man, I'd feel bad, man. That's just like,
I mean, this is the problem that Sony's having with that PS4 right now. Now that there are all the PS4.5 rumors out, why would you buy a PS4 until November?
man, I mean, I would just feel bad. Like if you worked at a store that sold components, wouldn't you be like,
Yeah.
this kid comes in, he's 13 years old, his mom's with him, he's saved up for 6 months to get this 970 card, and you're gonna be like, I gotta say something. Don't. You're gonna get fired if you say something. You gotta say something. That kid's looking up at you. That 970. He's like, this is the best card ever. I've saved up 6 months. I skipped lunch at school every other day to buy this card, mister. Is this the best card there is
this
for
what
my
you make your kids do?
$370?
Do you make your kids skip lunch to buy
Wait a
things?
month.
Yeah, you know,
I used to do that. I used to just pocket my lunch money and bring an apple to school, man.
Well, it is Oakland. His kids,
yeah, my kid actually, he's like, he lost his wallet because, you know, kids lose everything. He's like, I found the wallet. And it's like, why do you want this? Like,
What's in it?
the enough money to buy Overwatch. He wants to buy Overwatch. I'm like,
All right.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, that's fair. Overwatch is pretty good.
I didn't tell him that because I have to talk to Mom about whether he can buy it. But but still, come on, man.
I don't know. There are big butts in that game. I've heard.
This is the public service announcement, dude. If you work at a Newegg or you work at a whatever CompuStore store, it's like, dude, the kid coming in, he's saved up months. Don't sell him or her that 970, man. Just wait, kid. Just tell him, oh, sorry, I can't sell this to you now. Can you come back on May 27th?
So the big Newegg banner pops up when you go to check out, and it just says, "Hey, don't buy this."
The kid's looking up at you. He's got the big eyes. He's under the counter because he's short. Then you sell that kid that 970. That's like, man, you take that to your grave. You take that to your grave. You'll flashbacks. You're gonna wake up at night.
That'll
cold
be
sweats.
The harrowing VR game.
Why
when
did
you sell
do
that
that?
kid the GTX 970?
And then later levels, you play as the kid, now an adult coming back for revenge.
Oh my God, you're right. That kid's gonna be like, where is that guy? And he's gonna get you in a game too, right? When he's 25, or her.
It's like
25.
I'm still running that 970.
970.
You jerk.
I will say something very interesting that I heard. I went to an event and the vendor sells they're not primarily a video card vendor, but they do sell one SKU of video cards, and they were joking. This is 4 weeks ago. They were giving away a 980 Ti water cooled, and they're like, yeah, well, we're gonna give away 2 of them today because we got a warehouse of these, and nobody's gonna want them in a month. And now I know exactly why, right? Because you're like, who the hell's gonna want water cooled 980 Ti at this point, right? So.
Yeah, man. So just to get back to the point at hand, Mr. Pips, don't buy anything right now. Wait a month. Even though the deals are flowing in now, give it a month. They'll be even juicier, man.
And do they ever get that cheap? I would buy a 970 for $200, right?
Yeah.
That's okay, give me 2 of them, right? 970, $200 bucks. But no, that's not going to happen. That never happens, right? The deals aren't that good, are they?
No, I didn't see them that good. No, they're still up
they
there.
usually go. I think they usually go about 75 down. I would expect to see it around 275 ish.
It'll totally depend on supply too, right? Because this is all new technology, the 1080 and the 1070. So it depends on how many they actually have. If there's not very many in the market, normal cards might still be going for a bit for a while.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe they're going to trickle out, and you're not going to be able to buy these.
Yeah, wasn't that the 290s problem? 290 sold out for months and months and months. And
the Fury X.
Oh my God.
The Fury X was the bad one.
Yeah, that was I don't know how many they had. I think they just shopped it around. They sold it to you, then they came and moved it to somebody else's house for a month or something.
They had that Oculus problem. They just didn't warehouse that stuff.
Yeah, but I think honestly that at this point, they've known how badass this card is. They probably really cleared out the SKU. All the partners know exactly. They don't want to get left holding the bag of 970 cards at this point. So here's another one. Jay Magella. Is there any real-world noticeable reason today not to buy an SSD just by price per gigabyte? And I have a strong opinion on this.
Is there any reason not to buy an SSD?
Just on price. So
You should just buy an SSD.
Well, actually, he's not saying. I think what he's really saying is if I go out and I sort the price, is it okay to buy that $150 SSD? Does it matter? And I have an opinion on this because right now we're seeing a lot of weird stuff with the vendors where they're selling, these TLC drives where they basically make the performance seem like it's better for about 2 gigs, 4 gigs, some of them larger buffers. Once you burn through that buffer and you're writing a massively large file, the performance sometimes can get as bad as a hard drive as far as write speeds.
I would just buy an 850 Evo.
Yeah, so that is
850 Evos at this
850
point
Evo.
are $100 for 250 gig, and make that your core system drive, and then add a 1 terabyte hard drive for $50 on top of that, and put all your games on that, except for The Witcher.
SSDs are actually getting cheap enough that I'm considering ditching my hard drives and just going with backup SSD drives.
Yeah, I can't. I'm
couldn't
running
do that.
4 terabytes of hard drive, so I'm not all in on SSDs
at least one.
yet.
At least one.
Yeah,
Right.
I debated because even so, I bought an SSD last year, and I think that 250 gig drive was $120 at the time, and I just looked and it was on sale for 70, 75 or something like that.
Damn.
Which at that point is
times.
at that point that's what I pay for a 1 terabyte hard drive. So I could go in for a 500 gig SSD for game storage probably, but
They're so cheap now.
Yeah.
And then, you know, they're going to get cheaper.
The problem is I just chew through disk space because reviewing games is a nightmare for disk space. So
Yeah, I have to constantly shuffle.
yeah, I think I looked at all my Steam libraries combined, and it's like 3 terabytes of stuff installed now. And like, if I had a smaller drive, I would just delete it. But I don't have a smaller drive, so I just let it build, and it's awful.
But one last thing I want to say is I do think don't just buy on price, go out and read reviews. The reason is you can get a TLC drive pretty cheap, but they're about the same price as an MLC drive, which doesn't give you the sort of performance slowdowns once you burn through the cache, or just buy an A50 Evo. Which
Yeah,
is sad.
I just tell people to buy an A50 Evo
Yeah.
because that is such a standard at this point,
Right.
and it's so cheap that if somebody's looking to entry level get into SSDs, that's a real easy one for them to get in with.
Yeah.
It's tricky though with SSDs, like these TLC SSDs. John's been reviewing them for us, right?
Yeah.
And couple of TLC drives, he'd noticed that big performance drop after the buffer was filled. But
Yep.
then he reviewed some other ones and there wasn't. So that just
Not
drives
quite as
home.
bad. Although the buffer
Yeah.
is just bigger, but you get the A50 Evo, it's just like you avoid it all. So it seems
For
like.
anything that anything personally, if I make let's say you're gonna spend $100 on this, anything that I spend that's $100 as piece of electronics equipment, I always try to find reviews for. And I'm not just saying that because I write reviews for a living. And I would definitely recommend that.
Yes.
PCWorld.com.
I would only trust our
Brett
reviews.
Charkis.
Yes. Anyway, here's a good question. Oh, okay. Here's one of these dudes. David McClare just bought a 980 back in December. Sorry, man, but
Oh,
what are you
wow.
gonna do? But would it be better to upgrade to a 1080 or just SLI another 980? Oh, the classic dilemma.
I have opinions about this one.
And
One, the 980 still kicks a lot of ass, so don't feel bad about it. Two, if you have the money to buy a 1080, I am not a big fan of multi GPU solutions because
Yeah.
they're always a pain in the ass. And these days, I mean, NVIDIA's doing really good with the game ready drivers, but a lot of games just flat out aren't supporting multiple GPU situations
Arkham Knight.
for months after they've been launched anymore. So if
Arkham
you're
Knight.
a hardcore enough gamer that you're considering buying a 980 SLI or a 1080, just go for the 1080, man, because you're not going to be happy with the state of SLI performance.
Yeah, anything that you
In a
can
lot of
do
games.
to simplify your system, I think is usually better. So if you were gonna be, I don't know, if you were like, should I buy 4 1080s? I would be like, no.
Well-
if you were saying, if you were planning on like 2 1080s even, I would probably say no. Like, just don't bother SLIing. I would just stick with the one card, buy the best top end card
best
that you
single
can.
GPUs generally.
And then run that, because especially this past year, it seemed like SLI support was all over the place.
And the same with Crossfire. It's both sides. It's
Yeah.
just games.
Yeah, and so I mean, Arkham Knight is the big case. Like, that game, WB came out and was like, we will never support SLI. Like, we fixed everything else, we will never fix SLI support in this game. And so at that point, like,
Hey, but the GameWorks works, right? So
sorta.
And that's kind of really disappointing that that's happened because my advice for years used to be, hey, man, buy a good graphics card. And then when you start to feel it, start to get a little bit slow, buy a second one because they'd be cheap by then and you'd be doing all right. But over the past couple of years, multi GPU just has not been very strong.
And this is the same. I mean, going back to what we were talking about earlier, this is the same. Hey, hopefully DirectX 12 fixes this, because DirectX 12 supports multi GPU a lot better than SLI Crossfire stuff. In theory, the problem is that developers have to like actually do the work to support it, and whether developers end up actually doing that work
They never do.
is very questionable at the moment. So
Developers got enough work to do, man.
yeah, I know.
And I one thing I will say, I ran a 690 for a long time, and I was okay. I didn't play all the newest games immediately, but I was
Your
fine
World
with
of
my
Warships?
690. Yeah, well, that's
all you play,
now I'm
I've heard.
playing a Titan, so yeah, that's all I play. I'm an old gamer, for God's sake. I
Or
need a
dude,
game
just
where
think-
I can not concentrate for like 5 minutes.
Dude who wrote this question, maybe just keep playing with the 980. You'll probably still love it.
Yeah.
I agree. Like, that 980 is no slouch of a card still. So
Oh, okay. Here's another one. This riffing off this other one. This is from Pablo. Sorry, I'm not going to try your name because I'm going to screw it up. Oh, it's Paulo, actually. I've even screwed that up. 1080 or 1070 SLI?
1080 probably.
Same
Same?
basic answer applies, but I would say that we don't know the performance for either yet. But
Yeah,
same
sure.
basic answer applies.
But I mean, if you're gonna, I mean, assuming he's not gonna be playing at 1080p, so assuming 4K, 1070's got to give you more, right? So 1070 SLI that is.
Yeah, I just really like that SLI support is just not there enough for me to recommend that across the board. Like it would depend on what games you're playing, and if you have games that you play that are going to have good SLI support, great, like go that way. But man, the amount of times I've heard friends of mine like struggle with their SLI Crossfire system, or like go in and like, oh, it's not working, I guess I'm going to go in and like try and unplug one of my graphics cards and see if it works better. Like that kind of stuff is just dumb. Like,
Yeah, like
why
last
even
year,
bother?
in the past couple of months, just big titles. I believe Just Cause 3 didn't have SLI forever. I don't know if they do now, to be honest.
Well,
But they didn't have it forever.
And all of the
Division
UWP
came
stuff.
out.
You guys are so down in SLI, man.
Well, it's
The
just really
Division
like
came out, SLI or Crossfire cards in the Division. It would just introduce all kinds of artifacts. It was broken for like a month after the game came out.
and UWP in general has not been friendly with Crossfire and SLI for
yeah, by
for all those
UWP he
games.
means Windows Store games. By the
yeah,
way.
yeah. So
Yeah,
Quantum
but-
Break and the Gears of War Ultimate port, both of those were SLI.
Why would you play?
Crappy.
Why would you buy games there anyway? For God's sake.
Because Microsoft.
On the other
makes
hand,
you-
though, AMD and Nvidia doing really interesting things with VR, and if VR does take off,
Yep.
I think multi graphics card setups will become much more viable again because they're looking to make it so that you can drive each eye in the virtual reality headset with one graphics card for one eye, one graphics card for the other eye, and that would actually be a viable, great use case for multi GPU. But again, that needs to be supported by developers, and we'll have to see if it takes off.
Yeah, were you the one that took a picture the other day that had it was 3 cards, one per
Yes.
eye, and then one for physics on the
What?
bottom?
Yeah, 3. I was running trying the Funhouse demo that NVIDIA introduced, and they had it running on 3 1080s, one for physics, one for each eye.
And it worked actually.
Oh yeah, it was awesome. It was
Wow.
actually super awesome.
Yeah, that sounds beautiful.
Physics. I guess that's worth the $400 video card to run. I guess. All right, last question because I'm getting the evil eye from Adam. I'm making that up. He didn't give me the evil eye.
Adam doesn't even have an evil
doesn't
eye.
have the
man.
evil
He's
eye.
a nice dude.
All right, last one we're going to make from Corey Shane, which I didn't screw up. This is just interesting. How much of an increase would a 1080 or 1070 be over, say, a 750, GT 750, I'm guessing? It's like, whoa. That's like integrated graphics practically.
So I haven't taken math class in a long time, but if we integrate,
So like if this were the 750, Brad, can you see in the camera? I'm going to show Brad. So the 750 would be here. I'm guessing 1080 would be like outside
Way
the
up there.
building
I can
somewhere.
stand up.
Man, 750. What can you even play on a 750 anymore?
Oh, you could if you bumped
League.
it down to 720 in medium. I'm sure you could play some games on a 750, man.
Yeah,
Those 750 cards, that was the original Maxwell core, right? I mean, it looked like a Pentium 3 cooler, right? It was
Yeah,
just like,
yeah.
it would be
But
crazy.
in any case, it'd be like the old still picture things. You put a quarter in, you look at little peep shows, and you spin it to freaking go into an IMAX theater today or something. The difference would just be
Man.
ridiculous.
that's just. Those are cool. Those cards were cool because it's like, is this actually a video card? Because it looks like a keychain. It's just like 750. I remember those, but
Well, yeah, so it'd be a big change to do that.
it'd be huge. It'd be a huge increase.
Yeah, man. If you can afford that, do it.
All right,
But
Ken,
if
well-
you're going from a 750 to a 1080, be sure to look at your power supply so you don't
Yeah.
blow your house up. Back to bringing that full circle.
Don't melt that motherboard.
God, that'd be interesting. Like if you could, if they're saying 500 watts and they're always conservative, you could probably run a 1080 on like 400 watts. I bet, like almost.
I mean, depending on your processor.
Could you, I don't even know if are there 400 watt power supplies with 8-pin GPU plugs? There must be somewhere. There must be from China because they'll sell it to you anyway, even if it doesn't support it.
Hey, we should
But-
try that when it comes out.
Yeah, we're gonna do it with your card.
Buy a
Brad.
bunch of cheap power supplies.
Your card. Yeah, it's broken.
How low can you go before it catches on fire?
Yeah, that would be cool.
It's a good video.
Yeah,
I'd shoot that.
I'm sure they would be like, yeah, we'll buy another card for And that would be people would be angry, right? They'd be angry because you'd destroy like
You
a high-end
wasted a
video card.
card.
Yes, there's always.